Aylett Royal was born in Dallas, Texas on May 1, 1915. She attended Hockaday School, Southern Methodist University for 3 years, and then graduated from the University of Texas at Austin with a degree in English. She married the love of her life, George Cox, and together they raised 3 children. In the late 1950s, Mrs. Cox responded to a friend's request that she go to the Barstow School in Kansas City to study Anna Gillingham's techniques for teaching reading. Her friend's child had been diagnosed with dyslexia, and she needed someone who could provide training for him. This child became Aylett's first student.
Aylett Cox was unique in that she accepted dyslexia for the children early on and persevered in training teachers for the children.
Dr. Luke Waits, the founding medical director of what is now known as the Luke Waits Center for Dyslexia and Learning Disorders at Texas Scottish Rite Hospital for Children, describes those early years.
Mrs. Cox took her Orton Gillingham training in the late 50s in Kansas City with Genevieve Mossman. And then she came, when she completed her Orton Gillingham training, she came to Hockaday and set up the teacher training. And she invited Sally Childs, who was the head of the Orton Gillingham program at that time, by appointment from Anna Gillingham. The remedial dyslexia training for teachers started in Hockaday in 1960-61.
And from there, things began to come together in Dallas.
This is when the program, the dyslexia program, really began in Dallas. It was unique because Hockaday is a girls' school, and they were training teachers there. I arrived in Dallas in '61 and needed a referral source for the children with dyslexia that I was seeing. It was great to have a referral source because it was fairly unusual that early on. The program went very well, and in 1963-64 we both ran out of space. Hockaday School needed their space that they were using for teacher training. I needed more space for the diagnostic, and we came to Scottish Rite Hospital, and at that time the Orton Gillingham programs had been training 1 teacher and 1 child. And I met with Mrs. Cox and with Mrs. Childs and told them that I would be interested in bringing the teacher training program and the medical unit to Scottish Rite Hospital if they would train small groups. After Sally Childs regained consciousness and Ms. Cox got her voice back, they said they would think about it. And they thought about it. It didn't take long, and they said it's worth a try, that we will do teacher training in small groups and dyslexia students in small group. And so then I was comfortable in going to Scottish Rite Hospital and asking them to do the child neurology, including the dyslexia and the teacher training.
Throughout the years, Mrs. Cox trained more than 1,000 teachers, one of whom is Margaret Smith, who later became a colleague and friend. Aylett's teaching style in the classroom was something that Margaret will never forget.
Yes, she was very multisensory. Of course, that was before we even had overhead projectors. So she always accompanied her lectures with notes that she wrote on the blackboard, and it was black then, not white. And then she would intersperse her lectures with case histories and stories that were very relevant, and shared things with her own students that made it so much more meaningful. And she did like to involve us, you know, the trainees, so to speak, in as many ways as possible.
While continuing to train therapists, Aylett organized and expanded the Orton Gillingham multisensory approach for teaching students with dyslexia into the Alphabetic phonics program. This program was based on a structured system of teaching students the coding patterns of the English language, with an emphasis on discovery learning. Many of the best-known interventions for dyslexia developed in the past 3 decades have their foundation in alphabetic phonics.
These children particularly seem to need the structure, the logic, the sequence, and the organization first. They can go from that into dealing with words in the most efficient manner, but they do need the structure deliberately taught to them, relieving them of the worry about grades, but instead letting them realize that we're not testing them as we teach. We want them to succeed. That's the best proof of our teaching.
When asked what made Mrs. Cox unique, Dr. Waits and Margaret agree: her knowledge of the language.
It's my belief that Aylett Cox had intuitive knowledge of the structure of written American English. Intuitive knowledge to me means that she knows this spontaneously, that it's not inferred with reasoning and it hadn't been taught, it's just spontaneous. And I saw enough instances of that I'm convinced that she had the unusual ability of intuitive knowledge for written American English, and was particularly adept at applying this for the dyslexic children.
Aylett Cox was active in the field of dyslexia. She was a past president of the Dallas Branch Orton Dyslexia Society and served on the National Advisory Council from 1994 to 1999.
Her knowledge of the structure of the English language was just absolutely tremendous. I really didn't tap into that knowledge fully until I started working as her assistant. And then I had the opportunity to observe her doing many different classes and to, pick her brains, so to speak. And this was tremendously impressive to me. Her intellect, she was quite a brilliant lady.
In 1977, the International Dyslexia Association, then known as the Orton Dyslexia Society, honored Mrs. Cox with the prestigious Samuel T. Orton Award. Southern Methodist University honored her as a distinguished alumni in 1988. Mrs. Cox was a lifetime member of the Academic Language Therapy Association and was presented with the Alta Cornerstone Award in 2006. Aylett Cox left this world on October 18, 2006, but not before touching the lives of many and leaving a tremendous gift to all of us in the field of dyslexia.